What if I told you that right now, in basements and driveways across America, regular people are building cars that never need gas stations? No, seriously. Teachers, farmers, college kids, they're cracking the code on vehicles that literally power themselves from thin air. And before you click away thinking this is some conspiracy theory nonsense, stick with me, because what you're about to hear is going to blow your mind. There's this quiet revolution happening that nobody's really talking about. While we're all arguing about gas prices and waiting in line at charging stations, there are folks out there who've just opted out of the whole system. They're inspired by this inventor, Maxwell Chikumbutso, who figured out how to make vehicles run on radio frequency energy. Yeah, you heard that right. The same invisible waves that bring you Wi-Fi and radio stations. Turns out you can harvest that stuff and turn it into actual power for your car. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds absolutely insane. But here's the thing, it's not billionaires doing this. It's not some secret government project. It's everyday Americans with basic tools, a YouTube account, and enough stubbornness to ignore everyone telling them it's impossible. And they're actually pulling it off. Let me take you through 10 real stories of people who looked at their gas-guzzling rides and said, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to build something better myself. And that's exactly what they did. So picture this. Austin, Texas. There's a high school physics teacher named Mark Reynolds who's always been that guy, right? The one building little wind turbines with students, doing solar experiments on weekends, just genuinely loves science. One night he's scrolling online and stumbles across this documentary about Chikumbutso's self-powered car prototype. Something just clicks in his brain. Mark starts going down this rabbit hole, learning about RF energy harvesting. Basically, how you can grab invisible radio frequencies floating all around us and convert them into electricity. Wild concept, right? So he gets a few of his students involved, and they start tearing apart his old Ford Focus. They install this resonant RF coil thing inside the engine bay. At first, it's just a cool classroom project to teach the kids about alternative energy. But then something crazy happens. The car starts idling, like actually running, without any fuel, zero. The whole classroom just goes silent. Nobody can believe what they're seeing. Word spreads. Local news shows up. And now Mark's school has this whole Renewable innovation club where students are safely replicating his system. From a simple what-if question to changing how an entire school thinks about energy. That's powerful. Now let's jump about 1,000 miles north to rural Montana. There's this farmer and mechanic, Sarah Jensen, who's dealing with a different problem. Gas prices keep climbing, and she's got to drive forever just to get to town. Her daily routine is bleeding money. She's hauling hay, picking up supplies. It's getting ridiculous. Sarah does her homework, spends months researching, and decides she's going to retrofit her 2004 Chevy Silverado. She builds this custom RF to electric converter. The genius part? She disguises the antennas as part of the truck bed rails. Nobody would even notice them. She combines it with capacitor arrays she salvaged from old radio transmitters, and suddenly, she's got a self-powered pickup truck. This thing hauls hay and supplies without ever hitting a gas station. People in her town start calling it the farm truck that never stops. It becomes this local legend. And Sarah? She's just out there living her best life. Proving that sustainable energy isn't just for city folks with fancy electric cars. Over in Portland, Oregon, there's this 27-year-old software developer, Jason Lee. He's been following every electric car launch, every green tech innovation, getting more and more frustrated because it's all so expensive and inaccessible. Regular people can't afford this stuff. When he learns about Chikumbutso's RF systems, he's like, okay, I'm doing this myself. He takes his old Toyota Prius, the hybrid one, and completely transforms it. He rips out the hybrid battery pack and replaces it with modular RF receivers and capacitors. The guy even 3D prints a bunch of the component housing because why not? But here's where it gets really cool. Jason documents everything, every single step, every mistake, every success. He puts it all on YouTube. His channel blows up, over 400,000 subscribers now. Thousands of people watching his tutorials, getting inspired to start their own DIY projects. He's not gatekeeping the knowledge, he's spreading it. That's the kind of energy we need more of. Now down in Miami, Florida, there's Carlos Rivera, retired Navy engineer. This guy saw Hurricane Ian tear through and watched fuel become impossible to find, power grids just collapse. And he's thinking, there's got to be a better way for emergency response. So Carlos starts developing a self-powered Jeep. specifically for disaster rescue missions. He integrates this RF capture module inspired by Chikumbutso's tech, but then he adds something extra. Kinetic energy recovery systems that harvest the movement of the vehicle itself. It's brilliant. This Jeep now operates indefinitely. It powers communication equipment, drones, rescue tools, everything, without ever plugging in. Volunteer groups have tested it during actual storm recovery operations. When everything else fails, when there's no fuel trucks coming, when the grid's down, this thing just keeps going. That's not just innovation, that's life-saving technology. Let's head to Detroit now, the birthplace of American cars, right? And there's this beautiful irony happening there. A group of former auto workers, people who lost their jobs when factories closed, they formed this collective called Resonant Motors. They're using discarded factory tools and leftover EV parts that would have just been thrown away. They convert a bunch of old Ford Fusions into RF-powered city cars. Their mission? Create affordable, open-source mobility solutions for low-income communities. The cars run on ambient energy collected through roof-mounted receiver grids and small resonator units in the chassis. Detroit newspapers start calling it the People's Power Movement. And that's exactly what it is. Innovation that's not locked behind patents and corporate profits. Innovation for everyone, especially the people who need it most. That's the spirit of Detroit coming back to life in the most unexpected way. Out in Los Angeles, there's this artist, Mia Rodriguez. She takes her love for design and turns it into something that's part science, part art installation. She converts a Tesla Model 3, but instead of relying on battery charges, she uses Chikumbutso-inspired RF modules hidden inside the body panels. The design is seamless, gorgeous. Then she paints the car in these luminous shades that actually glow faintly at night, powered by residual ambient energy. When she unveils it at an eco-art exhibition downtown, it goes absolutely viral. People are losing their minds because it's not just a car anymore. It's moving artwork. It's a statement. It's proof that sustainable technology doesn't have to look boring or industrial. It can be beautiful. Up in Seattle, there's this college student, Eric Thompson, who's building his self-powered car as his senior thesis. He's got limited funds, so he gets creative. He scavenges components from old communication towers and builds this low-frequency energy harvesting unit. Installs it in a 2001 Honda Civic. Then comes the big test. He drives from Seattle to Spokane. That's over 270 miles. Without refueling, without recharging. Not even once. His professors are absolutely stunned. His thesis, Practical Applications of Ambient RF for Autonomous Vehicle Power, starts getting cited in renewable energy circles. A college kid with a scrappy budget just proved something major universities said was impossible. In New York City, there's Anthony Barnes, a delivery driver working crazy hours for a courier company. The guy's spending nearly half his earnings on fuel just to do his job. That's unsustainable in every sense of the word. Anthony reads about these self-powered prototypes online and thinks, you know what? I'm taking a risk. He connects with engineers at a local makerspace in Brooklyn, and they start converting his compact delivery van. 5 months of work, dozens of late nights, more burnt circuits than anyone wants to count. But eventually, Anthony's van becomes self-sustaining. Now he drives all day across New York City, Manhattan to Queens and back, without ever visiting a gas station. His co-workers laughed at him when he started. Now, they're all asking how to build their own. That's how change happens, one skeptic at a time. Out in Phoenix, Arizona, there's this father-son duo, Mike and Dylan Harper. Mike's an electrician, Dylan's studying robotics in college. They decide to retrofit the family's old Dodge Caravan together. But they don't just stick with RF technology. They combine solar collectors, regenerative braking, and Chikumbutso-style RF modules into one hybridized system. Their goal is simple. Create a car that can power itself under the desert sun, even when it's just sitting there stationary. 8 months later, they succeed. But here's the kicker. Their van doesn't just drive without fuel. It powers their home during blackouts. It recharges tools for other DIYers in the neighborhood. It becomes the centerpiece of community renewable energy workshops. That's next-level thinking. Meanwhile, in Chicago, mechanical engineer Lisa Green has bigger dreams. She wants to transform the city's public transport. She starts with her own car, a small electric hatchback. She adds a resonant array inspired by Chikumbutso, but she tunes it specifically to Chicago's dense RF environment. The city's got signals everywhere, Wi-Fi, radio, cell towers. By optimizing signal capture across different frequency bands, her car maintains continuous operation even when stuck in traffic. Now she's collaborating with a local university to explore how buses and service vehicles could adopt similar systems. Imagine a Chicago where public buses never need to refuel. That's the vision she's building toward. And finally, Boulder, Colorado. There's this young inventor, Tyler Brooks, who just goes all in on creativity. He takes an old Subaru Outback and builds a fully enclosed RF energy chamber beneath the chassis. This chamber captures energy, stores it, and recirculates power in what's basically a near-perfect efficiency loop. The car powers itself. But then Tyler realizes he's got excess energy. So the car also charges his entire workshop. Computers, lighting, even his 3D printer, all running on ambient energy captured by his vehicle. When he presents the car at a local tech fair, investors and environmental groups swarm him with offers. Tyler refuses to sell. He insists the design stays open source so anyone can replicate it. That's the mindset that's going to change the world. Not hoarding knowledge for profit, but sharing it so everyone can benefit. 10 people, 10 cars. 10 stories that prove self-powered transportation isn't some far-off fantasy. It's real. It's happening right now. And the only thing these people have in common isn't money or fancy degrees. It's belief. Belief that change starts with action. Every single one of these inventors faced doubt. They dealt with technical failures that would make most people quit. They fried circuits, drained their savings, got laughed at by friends and family. But every failure taught them something. Every burnt wire was one step closer to success. And here's what makes this movement truly special. They didn't keep their knowledge to themselves. They started sharing. In forums, online communities, garages, they began posting blueprints, component lists, tuning frequencies. This network of grassroots innovators has become this digital ecosystem of energy independence. Through collaboration, the technology keeps evolving. Some people have developed multi-band RF harvesters that can absorb frequencies from Wi-Fi, radio, and mobile networks all at once. Others are experimenting with graphene-based energy membranes that increase conversion efficiency by over 30%. This isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. Think about the bigger picture for a second. Each self-powered car means less dependence on fossil fuels, fewer emissions poisoning our air, reduced strain on power grids that are already struggling. It's a fundamental shift in mindset from just consuming energy to actually creating it. Economically, it's massive. These DIY inventors are saving thousands of dollars every year by eliminating fuel expenses and reducing maintenance costs. And some of them have started teaching workshops, helping others learn how to build these systems safely. Mark Reynolds partners with schools to inspire the next generation. Sarah Jensen delivers her farm produce sustainably. Carlos Rivera's Jeep supports emergency teams. Jason Lee's tutorials empower thousands to experiment with green tech at home. Every success creates ripples that spread awareness and spark new experiments. Imagine if millions of vehicles across America operated like this, each one capturing energy from the air, producing zero emissions, never needing a single drop of fuel. The environmental impact would be absolutely world-changing. And yet these innovators stay humble. They don't see themselves as heroes. They're just learners, explorers, building on the foundation that visionaries like Maxwell Chikumbutso laid. His RF technology planted the seed. Their hands nurtured it into a living, breathing movement. The establishment is starting to pay attention now. Governments, universities, private research labs, they're all beginning to take this seriously. The idea they once dismissed as impossible is becoming a legitimate field of study. Picture the near future. Highways filled with cars that never refuel. Delivery fleets powering themselves. Rural communities achieving energy independence. That's not some distant sci-fi dream. That's the direction we're already heading, thanks to people working in their garages right now. If you're watching this and feeling inspired, here's the truth. You can start too. All it takes is curiosity, commitment, and willingness to learn. The tools are accessible. The information is open source and free. And the energy? It's literally all around you right now, invisible but abundant. This isn't about waiting for some corporation or government to fix everything. It's about realizing that the next revolution might begin in your own driveway. The people who built these cars didn't wait for permission. They didn't ask if it was okay. They just built their own freedom, one spark at a time. The DIY self-powered car movement is more than just a cool trend. It's a declaration. It says that sustainable innovation belongs to everyone, not just the wealthy. It says that human ingenuity can rewrite the fundamental rules of energy. It says that Maxwell Chikumbutso's vision of self-sustaining technology has crossed oceans and ignited new minds across an entire continent. And now that vision is driving across America. Silent, clean, unstoppable. The question isn't, is this possible anymore? We know it is. The question is, who's next? Who's going to be the next person to look at their car and say, I can do better than this? Because the future isn't sitting at a gas station pump. It's humming quietly in the garage next door. And with every turn of a wrench, every successful test of an RF coil, every burnt circuit that teaches a valuable lesson, the future gets a little closer and a lot more self-powered. So if this video opened your eyes to something you didn't think was possible, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to keep bringing you stories of real people doing extraordinary things. And drop a comment below, tell me, would you try converting your own car? What's stopping you? Let's start that conversation. Because this movement, it's just getting started, and you could be part of it.